Hello, hello. Welcome to Ram and Goat Astrology. I'm Laura Lee.
And I'm Helena. And today we have a very special guest. You want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Anna K Fulton. Nice to be here. So excited.
Again,
Anna's
the second
back.
time.
Back for more.
Yes,
I'm trying
and
to
we
stay
love it.
calm.
Don't
stay calm.
hide
There's
this
no-
beautiful
That's how I feel.
excitement. Yeah. Me too.
We got two Gemini risings in the house. There's no need to stay calm. It's not necessary.
Not natural.
Right. I love it. So Anna, you are going to bring in some human design info to our worlds today. So tell me, I know we talked about this last time, but I'm so curious because I use astrology with parenting all the time. How have you found your knowledge or just learning, right? Constantly learning. How have you found that has been impactful with your parenting?
It helps me in one particular way today, this morning, when I was printing something out, and I've been using the mind shift, because he's a line one profile, which is a foundational energy in the I Ching system, the ground floor, if you will. If you have, and we'll look at that later, but basically it's the keyword is investigating. Okay. So if you can imagine your child into something and you're like, stop messing with it. I mind shift. I've been practicing in the moment. Okay. You're investigating that. You're curious about it. And I understand that. But what has mommy asked you when you're curious about something? And he's like, to ask permission. And I'm like, yes. And then we review what he can say, which is, Mom, I'm curious about that. Can I touch it? And if I'm really calm, I can eye to eye with him. And then the other way it helps me is to ground, because it pisses some people off, but they teach emotional wellness in school sometimes, right? And so my children came home with this conversation of grounding. And when we used to, I don't know about you, Helena, I'm sorry,
Helena.
Helena, on the moment I get nervous. I told you that. Helen of Troy, because it's Helen T. And so sometimes in my mind, Helena, they said to us, you're grounded when we get in trouble. Go to your room, you're grounded, right?
Yes, I am feeling very grounded.
So I'm trying to use that energy with my children where
Hold the phone. You just bridged some shit in my head I have never bridged before. Like I've always associated with you're grounded from a parent or an adult as a negative thing. And now I'm like, well, no, I'm not, but I probably should be. I should go ground. Yeah.
Exactly.
Because they're sun Capricorn. I'll have y'all look at their charts later, because then we could do a whole thing on twin energy.
You're twins. You have twin boys who are
Capricorns, born 2 minutes apart. And there's only one article I ever really found. But maybe we could start writing our own articles on.
But I'm thinking maybe we should just, or if you want to quickly explain what human design is for those who didn't listen to the last episode with you, which was episode something called Human Design and Beyonce
Energy. Thank you for that.
So human design utilizes your birth date, time, and location. So same information as astrology, but then it's a different interpretation, right?
Different lens.
I love that.
And astrology is a part of it.
Yeah.
Huge part.
Yeah. So the I Ching and human design, how could you, with just a few sentences, how would you describe that? Like to a 5-year-old, how do you describe it?
Okay, I love it. I could channel my teacher energy. So human design, first of all, I like to tell people it's like a tool that you use. Okay. So it's one tool to know you. There's a bunch of different ways you can know yourself. Astrology, I Ching, and they take different cultures, esoteric values, esoteric personality tool readings, or a self-development, right? To develop the self. So to a 5-year-old, what makes you awesome? And another way I use it with my children is to teach him when he's frustrated, right? But staying on what human design is as a tool to use as a signal for development in okay, so hold on. I was talking about the different cultures. You take all the different cultures' esoteric values, chakras from the Hindu system, I Ching from the Chinese system, Western astrology, and it also includes the tree of life in the, if you flip your body map, body graph upside down, it's the tree of life from the Jewish Kabbalah system. So I like to say you take all these different pieces, okay, you throw them in a blender, turn the blender, and there you go, human design.
That's
Some
awesome.
people call it Myers-Briggs, if anyone's ever heard of a Myers-Briggs, but in the astrology form.
Oh, hold on, let me think on that for a minute. So so the Myers-Briggs is like the ENJP or ENFP, or right?
I think that's what I am. Are we the same?
Probably. Probably.
Which is, do you know yours, Helena?
I think I am an wait, no.
Yeah,
the
you're
first
probably
one is so the I is for introvert.
Introvert or extrovert.
So I'm an INFP, I think.
I think I'm an ENFP.
I am ENJF somewhere. But
I don't even remember
let's
what the
parking
stands
like
for.
that. It means, it just like Laura was saying, another lens of figuring out your direction and your flow. So it's a system that was downloaded over 8 days by a man who was a Canadian, and he passed away I think in 2011. And he taught a handful of people in America, this system, even though it's generalized from other people's cultures. So you could start to even getting into your human design. You first start with your type, which we're going to talk about in a minute, and your authority. But there's like 1,000 different points to read from a chart. And we'll look at, I pulled yours up, Helena, if you wanted to look at it in Laura's, that astrological side of it.
It's pretty much as complicated and like full of information as astrology. Yeah, just in a different way.
In a different way. And so it's like taking little taste of it at a time, because I've been so overwhelmed by the information, and also depends on how you're designed, of course. I had to close. You have to put it away sometimes, you know?
Well, let's pause here for a second, because Anna's an Aquarius sun conjunct a Pisces moon in her 10th house, and she's a Gemini rising. So like information overload, like that's a thing that air people deal with. I feel that all the time, girl. You know, like her and I, when we get together, it's just
all right back here, that pressure. And human design has helped me. I've been studying it and practicing. They call it an experiment, your human design experiment, for 3 years now. Also, it's my hair, my lock-iversary. It's been 3 years since I started my dreads. So it's a lot to celebrate the Scorpio season. I wore the spider in honor of the mutation and all this stuff. So human design is just another thing. If you're getting to know, I wanted to say, after he passed away, one of his students, that's my teacher, her name is Karen Curry Parker. This was an original student of Ra, which he calls himself. And she took his information, which was very masculine based, okay, on the I Ching, which again is a masculine divination tool. That connects you with nature. And Karen Curry Park, she took it and she made it a yin language. That's what the quantum for me means when you say traditional human design by Ra versus quantum human design. It's just the yin side, the feminine side.
This is something that I struggle with astrology too, because a lot of the traditional astrology is very masculine planets, masculine everything. And now I'm learning from teachers through lots of different sources, but they're bringing in a lot of the asteroids, the feminine energies, right? These
Black
you need
Lilith.
The balance. You need the balance. Yeah.
You have to have the balance. And so sometimes it's about looking into that, the shadow side of us, which is feminine, you know, and then which parts need to be balanced. One of the books I found that I'm in love with is from published when you were born, 1984. The Kuan Yin Book of Changes. Diane Steen was one of the astrologers back in the day when we were babies. And it's so full of feminine. I mean, like all feminine, like up to the, like you kind of got to be okay with LGBT words and stuff like that. Feminine. Or if you're not, because I like to be on every, like, it should be available to everybody. But the feminine interpretation, that's what I loved about the quantum human design piece. So getting to know your human design can sometimes feel like a shock. You can sometimes not like it in the beginning. I don't know. Did that happen? I
feel like that with astrology.
Yeah. Yeah. There's definitely aspects of my human design I was like,
yeah.
Nope. Don't like that.
Same.
You can have that back.
Yeah.
I think because I was the one thing that really made me mad was the hermit part of me. There's this, I'm something in a hermit. And I was like, excuse me? Like my 11th house sun and Mercury did not appreciate being called a hermit. And then I thought about it for a while, and it was then interpreted a couple different ways, and I got a different flavor, and I was like, all right. All right.
Well, I agree. It was hard because I'm a projector and I need to wait for the invitation. But I have Mars and Aries in the first house and a lot of Capricorn. So and Leo sun. So I want to like instigate things.
Yeah.
But
I gotta pull up your chart while you're saying this.
That gets me in trouble sometimes. And that balance is really hard.
That is really interesting. That is a really interesting, I think this is perfect human design astrology, like help us understand this, Anna. So Helena just listed a bunch of stuff in astrology that talks about her really doing the initiation of things. Mars in Aries in the first house, that is initiator. And then Leo, like, I want to, like, that's just what they do. They just want to go, right? So there's so much about her that is this take action and go. But then as a projector with human design, that's not the case.
No,
so I think this is where human design gives us a different flavor and a different lens than astrology does.
Exactly. I was ready to share another screen, but I just pulled up. What do you ladies want to do next? Do you want to look into that? Well, first of all, I just want to say taking it all in the moment, depending on where you're at as a projector. So like projector at work. Helena, do you remember what we talked about during your reading, that you were going to practice something about self-recognizing and or asking, do you want to hear my thoughts? I'm just curious.
I remember, and I think about that. I'm not gonna lie and say that I always remember doing this, because I don't, because I'm a lot of fire and I get excited and I have ideas and I want to like start things. But then when I'm noticing the that I'm being paused, or like that I'm being slowed down, and I get frustrated, then I remember what you said, that I need to ask permission. So I think once I remember to say something like, or to it's about how you bring it up, because I can have an idea, but the way I present it needs to be in a question form, like, would you like to hear my ideas on this?
Exactly.
This is what Anna taught me, and this is what I should do, but I don't.
It's hard to learn.
I don't remember, because
you're so busy in the moment, and you're at work, and all these other people are messing with your energetic field.
I have to say, Anna, you did a reading for my son, Elliot, who's a projector, and he's 14 and a half. And he has been using that with me a lot. He'll because for us, it was our timing was off. And as a parent of now 5 children, I get bombarded with all of the energies, right? And for him to come in and just drop information on my head at way wrong time was driving me nuts. Well, since his reading with Anna, he's now been pulling back and go, hey, is this a good time to talk to you about my Amazon order? Or is this a good time to, and he's asking,
way smarter than me.
I want to hear this.
Can you imagine starting it at that age, knowing yourself
it's
so
amazing.
Well, and how he's going to be able to talk to his partner?
Yeah.
It changed. It really, I want to take a moment to cultivate that feeling. My energy just changed. You tingled me. Elliot is a lot like Helena in the head and the so this is the chakra part, the centers in your body graph, in your human design body graph. The shapes represent the chakra centers, right, of the Hindu system. And we're gonna back up in one moment to go over the main types so everybody knows. But just to give attention and recognition to the projector, because that's what I love to do for them. She's sitting here with an open sacral. That's the open from the root. You have the root is the first chakra. Second up is sacral. So Laura and I both have an defined or colored in sacral. So that's our definition. But Helena's is open. So she's conditioned actually in a different way, but maybe not treated like an open sacral person, if that makes any sense. She's treated like we're all treated. Like you got to work. You're
give us an example on that. How would that look with in a real life, in real time thing?
Okay, well, one of the things about this particular Helena, about you, is that you are a very defined projector. Okay, I believe it was an energetic projector. Is that correct? Do you remember?
Yes. No way.
Because you have the root defined here, which is a motor. I don't. Anyway, that kind of gets too deep. That's why you have to pull me back, y'all. We have to keep it. We have to keep it surface. We have to keep it surface.
Okay, just for everyone listening, we're now looking at my chart, and if you want to look at this, you can go to YouTube because this episode is on YouTube as well.
Yep. It's a gorgeous chart for a projector because projectors tend to be very open people. Projectors are the type of aura that need to be recognized, invited to speak, or also just they're good at giving attention, but there's a specific person that would need their guidance, then that would have to be an invitation for the projector to really feel appreciated and to really feel heard. So we were talking about her strong masculine energy, right? The Leo, the Aries, the Capricorn, that Earth. And look how defined she is. That means there's a lot of power here, right? But then she's her emotional solar plexus, that's the triangle on the right, that's open, that's super open. So you're emotionally empathic. On the left, where you're defined in your spleen, you're sensing. So you're sensing the timing. You have the splenic definition. So why would you wait? Why would you wait to be invited? You can sense if it's right or not. Is this the right time for me? Is this the right moment to ask permission, right? But even that little hack that we were talking about, that can make a little bit of a difference. You have 30% of the population has this defined head center and defined, which is the third eye area.
What does defined mean? Like what does that really mean when something is defined?
Sure.
Is it stronger or is it more
pretty
visible,
much fixed? Or? Yes. So in a human design chart, what you're looking at is things that are colored in. And if it's colored, if it has a color, it's defined, it has definition. This is energy that you will always have available to you. No one can take it away from you. This is what you were born with. If it's on the right side of this chart, it's the black lines. That's the moment that you were born, the energy that the human design system took in, okay? Anywhere it's black, that's your conscious definition. Anywhere it's red, that's unconscious definition. So how would you be able to feel it? It's unconscious. That was 88 days before you were born, which I have a lot of questions from my teachers on that one, okay? But
maybe
for
that's
you,
like when the soul drops in or something. I don't know.
The soul drops in, right? And there's all this beautiful esoteric stuff about your heart is the magnetic monopole. Your mom and your dad got these crystals they put together, and it's like an insane story. But if you can get past that part of the story, it's about the meanings we make of our auric system. So this is our emotional body and our energetic body. And so just to finish the definition conversation, and then I think we should go over the types of aura when I'll take a pause.
Yeah, but can I just ask, so when something is undefined, so I have 3 centers that are undefined, does that mean that, for example, you said my emotional center is open? Does that mean that it's very
empathic?
I'd say and very much influenced.
Yeah, easily influenced. That's what I was gonna say. Like I can, and also my solar plexus, does that mean that like my self-esteem can go high and low depending on who I speak to? Or
exactly. And is your partner's defined? Is your partner's fine? I was gonna text y'all to have your charts ready, but I have them up. But I just found out if you are open in your solar plexus and your partner is defined, meaning they have a colored in triangle there, you are definitely feeding off the wave and the feelings of other people. Like you can feel other people's feelings.
Yeah.
And so in the chart and quantum human design, the yin language, where you're open is a source of wisdom. But of course, we're just working on our self-development, right? So this can be a place that we question our wisdom. Like your open sacral, Helena, might have you not knowing when enough is enough, because the sacral is here to work. And like Laura is an octopus. She's a decapus. 10 arm. Decapus is what I said. A decapus. Okay. And she's got that sacral energy, and being around people with sacral energy has the projector feeling like they can sustain their own energy. And according to human design, you're not designed that way. You have an open sacral, which works to need rest, actually, and sustainability. You have an open will, which is the triangle. In human design, they have a story where the heart chakra evolved into 2 parts. The heart, which you're defined in, and then the will, which is where your value and your worth is. So you might, and it's super open. So I'm wondering, Helena, do you question?
That feels like your Venus and Gemini.
I was just thinking about that. Yeah, I changed, like I change. I know I change my mind a lot, and like on the little stuff in life all the time. Yeah, and I think that the same actually with bigger things. I change my mind a lot, and it's kind of exhausting.
Yeah.
And I think I'm so used to it, so I just don't really notice it anymore. But I do, of course, the value I feel for myself also, it goes up and down.
Changes. Yeah, that's Venus Gemini. That is. Oh yeah.
Let's find it on this part. This is why I love to show this to you when I have the chance to show this to you, because this part of the geneticmatrix.com, this is the chart reading software that I bought to read people's charts so I could be really laser focused on, I don't want to get it wrong telling them about themselves.
Right.
So what did you just mention that she said? What was
Venus over in Gemini, over by 5 and 6.
Thank you, babe. Venus and Gemini.
In Gemini.
Okay, here we go. So that's that 45. 45. And you have this red and black, right? So conscious and unconscious. 45, quantum yin language, that's the gate of the queen. You and remember, your sun sign in human design is also leadership energy. She has a lot of leadership energy in her chart.
Just being gate of the queen. I want to hear more about that.
The gate of the queen, 45. Some people call it the money line. So how you think about love is resourceful and like distributing. So the queen, what's the difference between 31 leadership and 45 leadership? 31 leadership is like Obama. 45 is more like Oprah. Okay.
Oh,
okay. So
Oprah.
like
that kind of queen. Yeah.
And this is in
Yeah.
your heart. And then where it says 6 here, so she's got it in Gemini.
Yeah.
So I love to put all of those flavors together. Okay. So how do you love? How does your heart love? It wants to be an authority of your love, right? And how you would distribute that love as a role model could, and like what a challenge speaking, right? But you would have to be invited to do it.
Yeah, so this is what it's like. It's so much leadership, you say, but then again, I have to be invited. So it just clashes in my mind. But I'm
Totally.
sure there's a
But
way
that's how this
to live
podcast
this in
started.
balance.
We were just talking, and it was very like, we just love to talk every week. And I said, would you like to do a podcast? And then she took that ball and ran with it. And I was like, okay, here we go. All I had to do was
invited
ask.
her.
I had to invite her. Yeah.
And you initiated it. And there is conundrum in the chart. I love to find it. I love to study people's charts for way too long until I find the conundrum, the push and the pull. But that's life, right? That's I get so excited about it. Let's see where you're 45.
Like, who's this? Oh, wait.
It's you.
Your 45 is open. So the other thing I like that my teacher teaches is we all have it all. It just depends on what we're picking up and what we're choosing, like anything else, what we're putting our attention on.
Yeah.
We're living with a basketball team. I'm sure your whole entire family is just 100% defined. But that 45 energy, it's, Laura, you have an open, this is Laura? Oh my goodness. That openness in your G center.
Yeah. What's the G
Wow.
center?
Oh, the heart. The heart.
Oh.
The G is the identity. So it's split into 2. The diamond is the heart, and the chakra split into 2. It evolved into will and value, and that's the triangle. Okay.
They're both open.
Laura's super duper open.
They're
so
all
again,
open.
within the head is open too. So the head is open. That means, well, particularly between you and Helena, she's going to have a bunch of inspired ideas, right? And because she's a projector, she's going to focus that energy, like probing it to you. And you, Laura, would have to decide, is this my idea or is it Helena's? And am I going to hold on to it? So I just went through the centers class and I'm all jazzed up on centers. But should we look at the main types?
Let's look.
Yeah. Let's dive into the types, because I think that's kind of.
Yes, this is so exciting. Like I feel like when I started learning about astrology, like everything is, like I don't understand anything, and at the same time everything makes sense, but I don't really know how to bring this like down to I don't know how it works, but I can hear that it does.
But I want to make it work, sort of right? I know.
I want to make it work. Yeah.
Too.
The first trick is unconditioning. We come to find these personal development channels because we are trying to answer questions about ourselves, right? Like, who am I? Why is this happening to me? How can I manifest or actualize? I like to call manifesting actualizing, because actually it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
But so I was mentioning, I've been doing this for 3 years in human design. We say I've been unconditioning. I guess it'll be 4 years in November. Good for me. So they say it takes 7 years to actually decondition. So we're going from a place of the conditioning. And there's this song that says, even my conditioning is conditioned. That's just, you're here to work. My children are going to school at 4.5. I'm like, well, welcome to the rest of your life. We got it every day, Monday through Friday. That's how we were raised, right? And so the beliefs and the thoughts that we have in Laura's example, her heart is open. So, this conditioning openness would be taking in the idea of who she is from others. Like, how could you, right? Do you understand what I'm saying?
100%.
You need to know who you are for you, and that you are accepted for exactly who you are. And you probably, maybe a lot of what you speak is an example of just literally who you are as a person.
And astrology helped me accept that part of me instead of trying to change who I was, right? And astrology was the thing that gave me the words to understand what I was and who I was, because so many people told me who I was and that wasn't accurate, and now I finally feel so good about myself and so like, yeah, so I love that human design pulls even more out, more juiciness.
The modalities, it's the language for me. It's the modalities and the meanings that we make of ourself, and the timing. Again, the timing with the manifesting generator and the open heart is, I just learned, geo alignment. Okay, geo alignment, meaning, is the timing right for your heart? Are the people in front of you, are they the right to share your voice and what you have? And then Helena's defined heart, right? That's more of you know who you are, and you are who you are, but are you being accepted as that? Mm-hmm. Does that make the subtle difference?
And that hit home.
Really?
Yeah.
I felt that hit home. Yeah, for her. Yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
And that's just surface. I told you how long I've been saying it. I just started getting super deeper into the centers. When I found human design, my question was, why am I stuck in a loop? Why do I keep regurgitating this story that's holding me back? And it gave me the language to push through those fears that were holding me back. And it pointed right to my emotional solar plexus.
Yeah.
And my sacral. So let's talk about aura and aura types, may I?
Yes, dive in.
Yes.
Okay, so human design takes the aura, and the aura here is the mental and the emotional body. Okay, when you find this book called The Subtle Body, they talk about how we have different energetic bodies, right?
Yep.
And so based on that, you have two types that have an energized aura. That's the manifestor and the generator. And then you have two types that are non-energized, meaning your sacral's open. That's the projector and the reflector.
Okay.
There are 5 types of human design, but only 4 auras.
All right.
The manifestor aura and the generator aura are a hybrid of both. That's what makes the 5th type. So sometimes you might hear there's only 4 auras. That's what they mean. You have your manifestor aura, which is, sometimes I like to say, it's like a bulldozer. So it pushes out of the way what it's not needed. If something's in its way, you're gonna watch out, here I come. Now, some people might read online that the manifestor is a repelling aura, and that could kind of insult you, right? Like, I repel. But if you're energetically aligned and you start to work on healing modalities, it's more like Wonder Woman in the cuffs. And when something comes at you, boom, 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 I got time for that.
Ooh, I love that visual.
That's how I personalize it, and everybody's different. But I'm using all of the human design, all of the readings to better humanity. My readings are heart-based. Yeah. And so I love to tell manifestors, like, not repelling people, but if you are in your correct, if you're entering, I was going to say in the beginning, Helena, like how to get into our juicy human design energy. There are just basically paying attention to your aura at first, for a couple of weeks, and so the projector is more focusing on just you, so when Elliot's talking to his mom, he's like, focus like this. But when Laura comes into the room, because she's got this open enveloping aura,
are you a manifestor? Or manifesting.
She's a
I'm a
manifesting generator.
Yeah, I'm manifesting generator.
I skipped over generator because I'm a generator. So I skipped over it because I'm like, everybody. So manifestors are about 11% of the population, and they're old energy, like old school energy. You can have young people be manifestors, but I can see a manifestor coming from a mile away, and I'll be like, look at this manifestor over here. I'm like, Igor, can I run your chart, Igor? Guess what? He's a manifestor, Igor.
But I want to know what happens in the kitchen when Elliot comes in with his projector energy aura, and then Laura comes in with her manifesting generator aura. What's that thing that happens that you were going to say?
Two gorgeous things can happen. Okay, so let's say Laura's in the kitchen, so her energy is already there, right? He comes in, he learned how to ask her if it's the right timing or not. Or as he grows, he'll be able to sense if it's the right timing or not. So he asks to be invited, then her generating energy, because you're a generator first, meaning you respond to your stimuli first. Because he asks to be invited, that energy that she turns and gives to him, and he feels it as a warm, enveloping hug. You know, he feels supported and heard.
Or a fire blaster under his ass. That happens too.
All right, the opposite. If it's not the right timing, then that's the MG. Usually I wouldn't want to be around an MG when they get angry. I wouldn't want to be there. Okay. Now I've been like that lately too. I think it's been an intense time for most humans lately.
Yeah.
Like explosion. So that could happen, but if they're working correctly, the projector and the generator have a delicious symbiotic relationship.
They do.
Where the projector turns the sacral energy on by asking the right questions to the manifesting generator, and then the generator then gives the projector that sustainable workforce energy that it needs to keep it juiced.
Yeah.
You know, does that make sense? So if you look at the projector on this screen, she's sitting in child's what is that? Lotus, and her eyes are like beaming like that. What is that superhero that does that? Like a laser.
That's Superman with their laser vision.
Laser vision. Okay. So sometimes when you're talking to a projector, it can feel like they're looking into your soul almost. And if they're correctly aligned, what they're doing is they're energetically collecting data to sense what this person needs to guide them. Projectors are here to guide. Projectors are newer energy. They're not here to sustain work. They're here to tell us worker bees, us alchemists, like, actually, try it this way. Maybe this would work better, because they're seeing something more direct and focused, where generators and manifestors have this open, and like you can see us entering the room. If a manifesting generator entered a room, you could feel it because of that push.
Yeah.
And that's
my husband has described this. He said, when you come in, it feels like a wave of just bigness. And he's like, and when you leave, it goes with you. And so it's been really interesting as we, kind of play with that, and the kids pick it up. And then of course they take that and run with it, especially if you're a 2-year-old, right? You take that wave and like, whoa. So it's something my family has told me for years.
Yes, you're emotionally. So Laura's got layers of authority. She's emotionally defined. So I love the way that they describe it as a wave, as I am emotionally defined. And we're all being affected by others' energy, right? But because she's such a badass anyway, like, she's the matriarch, so they're going to feel everything. But I just wanted to say that's why they say inform. You inform people, hey, I'm going to go grab something from another room real quick. So all of a sudden the kids look up like, where'd mom go? Right?
For real.
But that's good advice for almost all humans.
Everybody.
I call my husband. I'm like, what are you, a manifestor? Can you tell me what's going on, please?
So
But
projectors. So we have art on the screen. If you're listening to this, and we have art on the screen by
Brynja,
Magnusson.
Brynja Magnusson. It is beautiful artwork, but it's 4 women, and each one has a different light field that she's like manipulating or working with, right? So the manifester is the woman running, and then this light field is just coming from her. It feels like coming from her throat chakra, her heart chakra, like all over the front of her is just shooting
the throat.
Yeah, shooting forward. The generator, it feels like it's coming from her belly, solar plexus just radiating from her in like a more of a sphere. And then the non-energized types, projector and reflector. The projector is sitting in this lotus position looking off to the side with laser vision. And then the reflector is kind of crouched down and has a Buddhist circle of light around her. And it's
sampling.
Just beautiful.
Yes. They're gorgeous cards. This is my study deck. You can find her work, Brynja Magnusson, on Etsy. Maybe I'll give you the link later so people can get her.
But can I just ask something? So the energized ones, the manifester, the generator, and the manifesting generators, and then we have the non-energized, the projector and reflector. So for a projector and a reflector to feel energized, they need to be around a manifester or a generator or manifesting generator. Like if a projector and a reflector get in a room together, just them two, how there's no like they have no energy to bounce from.
I get it goes just a tiny little bit deeper than that. So the reflector, and I'll tell you, a reflector is a sampling energy. The reason why it has the Buddha circle is because a reflector needs to wait almost a full lunar cycle to know some clarity and what is right for them. Really? They sample people's auras. So I have a great picture to show you. But so reflectors are 1% of the population, and they're here to let us know. They basically reflect what's going on in society.
Not very many people. Do you know any famous reflectors you could, like any celebrities?
I mean, I could pull it up in my book, but I don't have that on the top of my head because I stay off.
That's cool.
All that because I'm very open. After the 3rd year, I found out my conscious side is actually all open. I'm a conscious reflector. I'm so empathetic, and it's helped me accept that part of me, that all my emotions live on my sleeve. Yeah. Like, and that's okay. And that I'm like a chameleon almost wherever I'm around people. But so the projector and reflector, they get their energy from different things. So the reflector is going to get their energy from the sample of the population. Okay. And then the transits, of course, like today, for example, the root, or when I checked it an hour ago, the root is defined today for the entire world, and the sacral. So I'm curious if projectors and reflectors could feel this root pulse pressure today, because it's defined in the transits. So you can get energy from the transits, you get energy from who you live with, people around you. And then the projector might be an energized projector. There's 3 kinds of projectors. And if you are a projector and you don't understand how empowering your projector chart is, I really urge you to reach out to me, because sometimes projectors aren't always feeling their chart.
Right.
And there's so much power. But if a projector wants to be energized again, they need to rest. Like, they just learn cycles. And again, great advice for all humans. By this time in our life, at the end of our 30s, getting into our 40s, I only know that because I know your birth times. This is our burnt out time. And if we haven't learned to build in cycles of rest for ourselves, then we're going to stay in burnout.
And I'd like to say, as a mom of 2 projectors, both of my boys are projectors, and as a manifesting generator, understanding how much more rest Elliot needs versus my girls who are generators, my husband who's a generator, right? We can all go, but my 2 boys cannot. They cannot. And at
they get
6
judged.
months and 14 and a half years, I can see both of them need way more rest. It is impressive. And that's hard as a parent to be like, no, can you please get up and do these chores right now? And I'm like, actually, he's not being lazy, Laura, right? Like I have to tell myself he's not being lazy. He's resting. So
can
then
you
I'll
imagine
say,
that in a school?
right? Well, then I think, okay, he needs to be invited. I said, Elliot, I invite you to rest for 30 minutes and I invite you to set an alarm. And then I invite you to get the damn laundry done.
Wow. I love that. That simple knowing, just that surface knowing then he feels seen and heard. He has a chance to rest.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. And does it usually work out?
It has been working out. Honestly, Anna, this is since our reading with you when he had that reading. So we have been working so hard on making these small little changes and how we can just have just tiny little communication shifts that make a huge difference. He'll come up to me and go, "This is not the right time. Never mind." Like he's catching himself. And I'll go, thank you.
And that's the magic, that simpleness right there, that thank you, recognize, boom, I feel supported. And then again, for people like Helena to, oh my God, I had it about the projectors feeling seen and important. I lost it, friends. Is there a way we can rewind your brain, Laura?
Right?
What were we just talking about?
I just wanted to bring up the parenting thing with parenting a projector. Being a manifesting generator, I don't understand that extreme need for rest. And it is there. I see it. And it is very much in my programming that I'm deconditioning, right? That's laziness. And we can't have laziness, right? We can't have that, right? We're all from a generation of generators, right?
Work.
Exactly.
And that's so strange because me as a projector, then now I'm thinking like, oh, so I need more rest. Well, I usually get like that burnt out feeling, but it's hard also for me because also in my mind, because I'm also conditioned to think that resting is lazy.
So you get to give yourself permission to rest.
Yeah. When you know this.
Do you rest?
You do.
I'm getting better and better.
In fact, she's been good at setting boundaries with the podcast as far as like, I'm not able to record late at night. I get too tired. Right. So we try not to record past like 7 p.m. her time. And then if there's days where it's just not working for us energetically, we will easily go, hey, I'm just not feeling it. I'm going to go rest, or, my partner and I need some time together or whatever. So I've seen where there's healthy boundaries there.
Yeah, I've been really getting better at that, and also knowing that, like, because I know that you understand where that comes from, but a big thing is that I need the other person to know that I'm not lazy. Like, there's a huge amount
proving
of
yourself.
Guilt is within those. Like when I'm typing those things.
That's the will.
If it's not to you, Laura, if it's someone else who might not know me as well, or who maybe something, I just feel the huge amount of guilt, and I won't text them, and then I will just sort of do it, and then I will feel tired and like it didn't have energy. The guilt stops me because then I feel like, oh no, I probably should, because they're projecting. I guess I'm projecting what I'm thinking that they're feeling about me onto me. So now I'm feeling that I'm just being lazy and bad, so I should do this. Otherwise, I'm going to be disappointing. And
that is exactly the open will center. That's the will center, and the value and the worth. I bookmarked a sentence for the projector in this amazing book by Evelyn Levinson, Becoming an Empowered Projector. I recommend it to anybody. So what a hack then, because now you know this information, now you have this data, right? Helena, you have this data now, so you get to start training your energy to notice that moment when you feel guilty. Then you self-recognize and give yourself permission to rest. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? Probably not much, or you can apologize later. I just wanted to read this sentence really quick from Evelyn. As a generator, I just wanted to get a real projector's perspective. It's important to understand that the projector is not projecting their own energy into the other person. It's quite the opposite. The other person's energy flows back to the projector. So it's what are you holding on to that is not good for you? That's what you got to start in training. Just notice it and then tell a new empowering story. A queen authority, like, wait a second.
What would Oprah say?
Right? What would Oprah do in this moment? And if you need to be inspired by Oprah's story, just reading her Wikipedia page changed my life. However, the projector's penetrating aura can still be uncomfortable to the other person. I love that part. Because you're exposing them. And it's, again, a practice, because the projector, 21% of the population are projecting the generator's energy, right? 11% are initiating ideas, putting ideas and information out there. The generators, we're the worker bees. The manifesting generators are, of course, generators first. And then the projectors are just open, taking it all in, and basically reflecting it back to us. And that's why we put them in the category with the reflector, right? They have this. So what the big question is, what do projectors do then while they're like, do I need to wait for a generator? Do I need to wait for a manifesting generator? And sometimes generators say, well, do I need to wait for a manifestor to tell me what to do? No, is the answer to that. Okay. Because we're
the manifesting generators are like, no, you got to wait for us. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Right. Don't move a muscle. So the manifestors are initiating, the projectors and the generators, but that energy has been happening for 200,000 years, like ever since the cavemen were about. But the projectors are newer energy, and so it's my mission to let projectors, to remind you guys to give yourself permission to rest, to be compassionate to your openness. That's coming back at you.
Pause, say that again. Be compassionate to your openness. So Helena, when that Capricorn judgment and guilt and I should be working, I should, pause and be compassionate to your openness and say, well, maybe I should lean into the Cancer energy and have more compassion, right? The opposite of that Capricorn. So
yeah, but I just thought of something.
Yes.
For projectors, then, if I'm talking to someone and let's say that I'm saying something like, oh, I won't be able to do that, or just having a conversation and I sense the other person, because this happens, like I talk to someone and I sense the other person not liking what I'm saying and I feel really guilty. Does that mean that I'm actually projecting that true emotion that they're having, that they are not happy with what I said and therefore I feel the guilt?
That's a layer
I'm reflecting of it, their true emotion. Because a lot of the time I'm talking to someone and I don't like what they're saying is different to what I'm sensing.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So because you are able to sense it, that's one of your superpowers as a splenic defined human, your awareness center in the spleen, that's a sensing awareness center. So you can sense that from them. But I think it depends on, did you enter into the situation correctly? So when we talk about our strategy, when you were talking to them, were you invited to guide them with your advice?
Probably not.
If you weren't, you could feel off, because then that would be the not self, the conditioned self, not working correctly, as opposed to being invited. I call it the IRA for the projector. You're invited, you're recognized, or you're acknowledged. Then you would feel more like, so for the projector, the question is,
I like that. Hang on. Is your IRA in place? I like that. Do you have your IRA, right?
Yeah, no, that is really good, because when I'm thinking about these moments, it's usually just me just barging in somewhere and saying, hey, I have something to say. And then they might not like it or something, but they say that it's okay, but I feel something else. And then I go home and I sense that it's not okay, and I sense that something's off. And then I start overthinking, because I'm like, they said this.
The loop.
Yes,
You got stuck in your loop.
Other thing. Yeah. So, and that sends me on a loop.
Yep. You have that definition you had in your head in your ajna. That's exactly what that is. You're trying to make sense of the questioning, and it's never going to work that way. You're never going to, I told you this once, you're never going to find the answer in your head. The head is your whiteboard. The head, and sometimes you might have to clean your whiteboard up by resting. So playing with that strategy to wait for that invitation, or being recognized, back asking, can I have some ideas about this, can I let you know? And then the other piece that Laura was saying is that compassionate, because now you know why you do that. So you can start to recognize it and tell yourself a more empowered story. You know, what would the queen do? What would Oprah do?
I feel like this is a great
feel guilty.
key. I just need to remember to do this, because I see exactly what you said. I see where this goes from.
Write it out. Take a screenshot. Put it out. The only way we're going to remember to do anything is if it's our anchor and we see it every day.
Yeah. You should make Oprah your screensaver on your phone.
Or so Oprah was for me, you know, so because if Oprah's yours, that's awesome. But there's got to be a bunch of people in Sweden we don't know. Maybe you have some person you could that is like that. I want to show you one more thing about the projector. This is from the presentation we did, Laura. If we don't have to read this out right now, but we can always come back to this. There's this thing about a projector. Oh, this was the key to unlocking your design. Just stay focused on your type and your strategy. And your strategy as a projector would be waiting for the invitation. And I told Helena, practice self-inviting just to see what happens, you know. And for the manifesting generator, practice informing yourself, practice informing your higher purpose. And then generators, they always say, what does it mean to wait to respond? That's our strategy. That's waiting to respond to outside stimuli. And then using your sacral to find the yes or no, the gut check. And another thing for you, Helena, is that you have that spleen defined, and that can feel like a gut feeling sometimes, maybe like, oh, I have this gut feeling to say this now, maybe, right? I don't know, maybe. These are authorities where they talk about your type. So we had the manifestor, generator, projector, reflector. Focus on those types, your aura. Then study your authority. Am I emotionally defined? The wave that Laura talked about walking into the room. Am I sacral defined, where I have a yes or no, just like a gut feeling? The splenic, really very like the sacral, but it's more of a whisper. Because you have your sacral would be the strongest authority, splenic's more of a whisper. Then you're getting into heart authority with the ego and the G. Remember, that was the ego is the will, and the G, some people call it the God center. Maybe that's what G stands for, but that's how we identify. That's our heart chakra. And that is a very vulnerable way to be defined by your heart. Because then it's all about how you identify with yourself. And if your story of identity is not healthy, can you imagine? And this is yours, right, Helena? mental. Oh no, you're splenic. We already talked about that.
Yeah.
So a lot of projectors are mental, or they have no authority. So a mental authority would be like Helena was saying, she gets caught in the loop in her head. Maybe this happens to Elliot sometimes.
My son's a mental authority. Yep.
You try to find an answer.
Yeah.
But the answer for a projector would lie when they got energetically correct with their alignment. Then through rest, what happens is people who are naturally needing your guidance will come to you. They won't be able to help it because you're so juicy and you have so much information to share and to give. And when you're focused on yourself and your will and your value and your self-worth, people are going to be like, what's this Swedish hottie doing? I want some of that. And then those are your people, those are your people. It seems it's easy for Laura. For me, it was hard to be in a class with Laura because I would compare myself to her. How does she get it all done? And then I found out, well, she bends time with her magic throat.
Helena, didn't we just talk about that literally yesterday?
Yeah. I think you were talking about how it's crazy, all the things that you have gotten done in
18 months.
Year? Yeah, 18 months. Yeah.
I was looking at, I sent an email to a client after I worked with them, and then the email had some links, and just for fun, I took the buyer's journey of oh, what does it look like if they click on this link? And I was looking at all of my various links that I would view it as a client. And I was like, holy shit. And it dawned on me, none of this existed 18 months ago. And it really blew me away. And I was like, oh, this is what people see. Oh, I finally saw it. It didn't register.
Yeah, that's why people are so cannot believe all the things that you have done
and a baby
in a very very short time. But so
5 kids, 5 businesses.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you're learning about human design, first you learn your aura, and
your
then
type.
you learn your type, and then you go and learn about your inner authority.
Yes. And your inner authority tells your type how it can enter into something correctly. So, for example, Laura is an emotionally defined manifesting generator. So what will help her get clear? Well, responding to her environment as a generator. And then as a manifester, it's about timing. People say, oh, I want to be a manifester. I want to be a manifester. But manifestors, you got to make sure it's the right timing to be heard. Is this the right space? Is this the right environment? Is this the right people? And then for mental projectors, I was going to say this questioning that they have and the need to answer it, that can be given to your higher self. Those questions, a projector can say, help me understand my aura, help me understand my type to my higher self. With that intention, take a nap, Take
a nap. What I see my son do is not even taking a nap, but this might be another example, is he will just go and sketch anything, usually superheroes, but really anything, dragons, whatever. But the sketching I see as his whole everything just, it's like a powering down. And he's still with us. He's still conscious and present, but it is his way of truly resting. And that's kind of his checking out and resting. Yeah.
So maybe that's what
you like to do art.
Yeah, art, and also making stuff, cooking food when you're not in a hurry. That's what I do. If I'm stressed, I go and cook something, or I bake, or I create something.
I can't wait to come visit you.
That's important to remember, Laura. I'm glad you brought that up, because I discovered that about you, learning along the way. We rest. There's so many different ways to rest. Every time I want to rest, of course, I think about taking a nap, but just being in a park, earthing with your feet. I know gardening, you were saying gardening is your way of resting.
Oh yeah.
So find out what your rest quest is, and then have that simple intention of focusing on, like, show me how my type works, and then be open to receiving that guidance. Because for projectors, there are specific people out there, like me, for you, Helena, who want your guidance, and Laura, there's people out here who want your guidance, right? So I like to tell projectors to focus on the people who want to hear from you. And you'll be able to sense that. People who don't want to hear from you, forget them. Who cares about those people?
Right.
And then lunar authority is you're reflecting, or if you have no authority, you just wait you just follow the cycles of the moon.
So lunar
which I
authority
love.
people, I'm just kind of taking a guess here, are very rare. Would you say that?
1% of the population is a lunar authority. There was this it doesn't look like it's here. There's this art that I love that always reminds me of a projector. As an educator, I'm sorry, I feel like I'm saying too many times. Do one of you all want to talk? I find it.
That's fine. Yeah, go ahead, Helena.
No, I was just gonna say that we've been learning now a little bit about sort of getting a little toe dip into human design and the 5 different types and the 7 different authorities. This is really, really interesting. Where do you find this? Where's a good place to start finding this on the internet? Like, where did you go?
The internet is flooded with this information, first of all. And then that's why some people, I think, end up not liking their design, or not understanding exactly how to resonate with your basically inner body wisdom. So if you have an open head in Ajna and you start reading online information about yourself that's not correct, you could take that in, and not like your design and be bitter about it or something.
I've seen people do that with Saturn and Pluto, and my gosh, you think it's the worst thing on the planet that they have Saturn in their chart. I was like, no, honey, everybody.
We all have
right. Yeah.
No one gets away.
No.
Exactly. So I have this design now, but I don't know how to make it big. So I'm just going to try to use my language really quick, ladies.
Yeah.
And this picture of what makes us different. This is that comic where you have a teacher talking to a bunch of different animals, and they're going to take a test, right? You have your monkey and your elephant, a couple of mammals. There's a fish there, and a teacher standing at the desk, and he says, okay, we're going to have a test. We're going to see who can climb the tree. Who can climb the tree? This is the test, right? So he's talking to the monkey, the bird, the elephant. The projector is the fish. And the reason why I love this comic is because I see this in school and children all the time. You have this classroom full of people. You ask them to take a test, but a few people in the classroom aren't actually equipped. They're not set up correctly to even climb the tree.
Right.
So, imagine how this fish or the child or projector must feel when it knows it's like, wow, that monkey climbed that tree super fast, right? Generator, manifesting generator.
Right.
The teacher who's giving the exam, that's the manifester. They're initiating this. And then the projector is receiving this information like, okay, I want to climb the tree. I don't want to let you down, but I'm in a fish bowl. So exactly how do you expect me to do that? And so if this is 21% of our population,
right?
Like, they think that they're bitter because they don't understand what's wrong with them, that they can't do the sustainable work that they see everybody else doing. And then they question their will, their value, XYZ. So that's my story for the projector. And then the reflector would be the person observing the whole experience and letting the crowd know whether it's working or not. Of course, it's all energetic, right?
Right.
Okay.
I love that. Thank
So
you, Anna.
interesting.
This is fantastic. Oh my gosh, we love talking to you, obviously.
So fun.
So fun. Thank you. And
Oh,
so
where to start?
you're
I
doing
have that.
readings for people, so people can start with you.
Yes.
They can get a reading from you.
There's a couple places to start. This is a workbook, but instead of buying a workbook and reading it, just call me for 20 minutes.
Exactly. Get a reading with Anna, and they can find you
And
where?
this is I'll tell you where to find me, but my teacher is Karen Curry Parker. When you Google stuff about yourself, that's just a little bit more yin, like quantum human design, than the question you have can be a little bit more softer, but you need both. You need both traditional human design and quantum human design, in my opinion. So where to contact me? I have a website that's always evolving, aklifedesign.com. And there you can contact me questions, or you can sign up for a reading there. I always have this deal, like 20 minutes, $25, or 30 minutes, $25. Usually I go over. If you just
And I
want to
highly
sample.
recommend it if you have a teen or kiddo in your life that is looking to understand themselves better. I do astrology with my kids and everything, and this was just so helpful. It really gave us just a new lens, a new perspective, and a couple little tips and tricks from somebody outside of our life, right? Sometimes you're so lost in your own crap that you can't see what you need to make things better. And a few little tips and tricks from Anna, I'm not kidding you guys, changed everything. And because Elliot and I are such a big presence in our home, and because we homeschool and because we work from home, like, this is a big deal. There's a lot of humans in a very small space, and when him and I are not good, it's not good, right? And these couple little tips and tricks have seriously, and now I'm seeing it play out over time, right? And it's really been changing the whole dynamics of the house. And this session today has just kind of reiterated and helped me remember.
Love that.
Yeah.
Things.
Same with me. It's really like little golden keys that I feel. It's just magical information, and I think it's going to change a lot.
Yeah.
I think you are magical. I am just so grateful. I waited so patiently to respond to something and my stimuli, and I'm just working on my self-love and my self-worth. And I think that's why I can understand. I have a sacral, but I'm so open. 7 out of 9 of my centers are so open. So I just want to tell everybody how wonderful and empowered they are. Right. And you give me that opportunity to share. Last, about the generators, because 70% of us are, another way it helped me understand my husband is I allow him to grunt. Okay, so generators, because we're sacral, we can be like or and the way we were raised, that's not very respectful all the time. It's in the South, yes ma'am, no ma'am, or just speaking with words. But my whole entire family were all generators. So we all have this So I allow my husband to communicate. If he's grunts at me, it means he's communicating. And it's really helped our marriage because of that expectation, So anyway,
that's
just
funny.
little things.
Accepting.
Yeah, little things. I am so blessed to be here. I can't wait to do it again. Bunch of more things to talk about.
Yes, I feel that. I have so many more questions about everything. You need to be on soon again.
Well,
thank you so much.
Take care. Bye. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Ram and Goat Astrology. You can support the show by buying us a coffee or a tea. Link in the show notes. Your financial support means the world to us. Join us next time.